Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a really sweeping, multi-generational epic. It's a story all about truth, betrayal, and the Earth's eternal memory. This is the saga of The Tattoo of the Earth, and it tackles some incredibly profound questions. Like, why do humans choose betrayal in the first place? And maybe even more importantly, how in the world does the truth actually survive when the people in power are trying so hard to bury it?
We kick things off with his absolutely powerful philosophy from the blind shepherd, Tal. Truth does not die, it is only hidden. I love that. It hooks us right into the central poetic mystery of the whole story, this idea that the earth itself is actually a witness to everything that happens. See, Tal might be physically blind, but his spiritual sight lets him hear the earth breathe, speak, and most importantly, remember. It's this concept of an undeniable living truth that really sets the stage for everything we're going to talk about.
So here is our roadmap for the saga. We're going to hit 6 key areas: the epic of betrayal and truth, the sacred earth covenant, sacrifice of the light-bearer, army of shadow and ash, return of the promised heir, and finally, triumph of the eternal truth.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the epic of betrayal and truth, where heroes fall. This is where we start in a time of really fragile peace, which totally shatters when a devastating lie gets planted.
To quickly grasp this initial conflict, let's break down the core archetypes we're dealing with here. First up is Sural, a young man who basically represents pure innocence. He has this incredibly deep musical connection to the earth itself. Then you have Arian. He's the courageous, noble leader fighting for justice, but he's got a fatal flaw, which is his blind trust. And finally, there's Cade. Cade is the literal embodiment of toxic ambition. Coached by his bitter father, Cade has grown up believing that justice is just a weakness and that true power has to be taken by force.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the tattoo of the earth. It's not just some standard magic trick. It's the central engine driving this entire 3-generation plot. Born on Sural's right shoulder, it's this glowing, map-like symbol, acting as a literal covenant with the earth. It normally stays completely hidden under the skin, but when Sural gets injured in battle fighting off savage invaders, his pain and his unyielding faith actually cause the tattoo to glow brilliantly, totally exposing his sacred connection to the world.
Moving right along into Section 2, the Sacred Earth Covenant. The Earth listens. This is where we see how the Earth itself flat out refuses to let Caed's murderous betrayal stay buried.
So here is what happens. Caed uses a black dagger to murder Sural and Arian from behind, and then turns around and spins this perfect lie to the tribe, claiming they died as heroic martyrs fighting the enemy. He sells it completely. But remember our blind shepherd, Tal? He actually hears the earth whispering the real truth. The earth ultimately exposes Caed's poison and even reveals the very dagger he used. The earth just doesn't allow the lie to live, which is a massive theme here.
Which brings us to part 3, sacrifice of the light-bearer, preserving the memory. Because even though Cade is brought to justice, the peace is already shattered, and a much bigger, darker threat is on the horizon.
We get this incredibly poignant vow from Princess Cecil, Sural's beloved. Standing at his grave, she says, "I will remember you, and every coming generation will know your name." This moment completely transforms Cecil. She goes from a grieving partner to this fierce, unshakable guardian of memory and truth. But she also knows a storm is brewing, and just remembering isn't going to be enough to protect their people from what's coming out of the dark.
Enter the villains in Section 4, Army of Shadow and Ash, the threat of the Void. These are the dark forces, led by a tyrant named Tharoon and his dark priest, Malikir. Their whole goal is to extinguish the tribe's light entirely, blanketing everything in this suffocating gray ash.
Let's track how this lineage plays out over time. After Cyril's tragic death, Cecil retreats to a sacred cave where the earth actually gifts the glowing tattoo directly to her. Fast forward a bit, as those dark forces start breaching the valley, she passes the tattoo onto her newborn son, Nor. To keep him safe, the elders smuggle baby Nor far away into the Ashen borderlands, hiding him out there for 20 long years.
20 years in a dead landscape sets up Section 5, Return of the Promised Heir, a light in the ash. The time has finally come for the heir to step out of the shadows.
So Nur's living this quiet, totally off-the-grid life, right? That is, until he accidentally trips a snare trap in the woods. While he's hanging there upside down, his glowing tattoo flares up and is spotted by a local hunter named Mayar and a young storyteller boy named Yusha, who instantly recognizes the old prophecies. But here's the catch. The second that tattoo flares, the dark priest Malakir senses it from miles and miles away. Suddenly, Nor has a giant target painted on his back.
Now on the run, Nor and his new friends reach the sacred crystal cave. It's being guarded by this terrifying, corrupted stone golem. But instead of an epic boss fight, Nor does something amazing. He realizes the giant is just a suffering guard and tells his friends that violence won't open doors closed by fear. He literally uses the tattoo's power to heal the giant, proving that his ultimate strength is actually his supreme empathy. And that leads us to our grand finale, Section 6, Triumph of the Eternal Truth, the Crystal Cave. Deep inside this cave, the first heart of the earth is slowly suffocating under dark shadows.
To build the tension here, picture this. Malakir manages to ambush them right inside the cave. As Nor's friends are desperately holding off the Shadow Soldiers, Malakir lunges straight at Nor. And he's wielding the exact same black dagger that was used to murder Nor's father all those decades ago. The cycle of betrayal has literally come full circle.
But in a complete reversal of what you'd expect from an epic fantasy hero, Nor just drops his defenses. He refuses to fight back. He realizes in that split second that fighting violence with more violence is exactly what feeds the darkness and the fear of the army of Ash. The tattoo, it turns out, was never meant to be a weapon of war. It's a covenant of surrender to the truth.
So, dodging Malakir's killing strike, Nor takes this ultimate leap of faith. He throws himself onto the center platform and presses his glowing shoulder directly against the dying heart of the earth. He literally sacrifices his physical form entirely to bridge the gap between humanity and nature.
And as he does this, echoing his father's dying breath from the very beginning of the story, Nor whispers his final words, "Earth, carry my secret and my truth." It's this incredible poetic parallel that completes the grand cycle of the light bearers. His physical body dissolves into this blinding pure light, merging completely with the heart of the earth.
This miraculous sacrifice triggers a massive, explosive rebirth across the whole land. The blinding light instantly obliterates Malakir and his shadows. The suffocating gray ash completely vanishes, replaced by this sudden explosion of green life and rushing pure water filling the valleys again. And in the most beautiful touch, the glowing symbols of Nor's tattoo embed themselves deep into the very rock of the mountains. The earth itself permanently becomes the eternal witness to the truth. As we wrap up this explainer, we're left to ponder this really beautiful, thought-provoking metaphor. Truth might be buried under ash for decades, but how does it bloom in our own world when it's watered by the sacrifices of the faithful? Because no matter how deeply truth is hidden by corruption, it eventually transforms reality when championed by people brave enough to sacrifice for it. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the tattoo of the earth. Until next time, keep seeking the truth.